The sun was just beginning to set over the lake, coating the neighborhood in a warm golden glow as you slowed your car near your friend's driveway. It was supposed to be a relaxing evening, fresh air, calm water, and no stress. You parked neatly along the curb, stepped out, and stretched your arms. Before you could even close the door, you heard sharp footsteps approaching. Turning around, you saw her, the neighborhood legend. Clipboard in one hand, phone in the other, HOA Karen marched straight toward you with the intensity of someone sent on a mission. "Excuse me, you can't park there," she barked before you could even greet her. "This is a private community. Residents only." Her eyes scanned you like she had built-in scanners for rule violations. You remained polite, explaining that you were simply visiting a friend who lived right there. But she wasn't listening. She already had her clipboard flipped open, scribbling something dramatic like she was logging a federal crime. She circled your car, snapping pictures from every angle. "Visitors must register. You didn't register. That's a violation. And your car is too close to the mailbox. That's another violation." You sighed calmly. "Ma'am, I just got here. I'm not even staying long." But Karen wasn't interested in explanations, only control. She stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was uncovering a conspiracy. "This community maintains standards. Standards you clearly don't understand." Neighbors peeked from windows, some shaking their heads knowingly, already familiar with her behavior. All you wanted was a peaceful visit. But it was clear, Karen wasn't letting this go. Karen moved from annoying to full-blown aggressive in seconds. She planted herself between you and your friend's walkway as if you were a threat to national security. "You can't step onto this property until you're listed in our HOA system," she declared dramatically, waving her clipboard. You tried again, staying calm. "I'm literally here to see my friend, he invited me." She scoffed loudly. "Everyone says that. We've had visitors before. They pretend they're here to see someone, and next thing you know, they're fishing in the lake without permits or using the private dock." "That's not something I'm planning to do," you replied, trying not to laugh. Karen leaned closer, eyes narrowed. "You need to move your car. Right now. And sign the guest compliance form." She waved a packet of papers like you were being arrested. The pages were filled with ridiculous rules, how long you could stay, where you could walk, even noise levels for conversations. "I'm not signing anything," you told her, keeping your tone steady. That was the moment her expression flipped. She stepped back, hands on hips, and unleashed a dramatic sigh. "Fine. If you refuse to comply, I'll handle it. You leave me no choice." "Here we go," you thought. Karen stomped away like a villain in a cartoon, muttering loudly about ungrateful outsiders and people who think rules don't apply to them. A couple walking their dog whispered to you, "Don't take it personally. She does this to everyone." But Karen wasn't done. From the corner of your eye, you saw her pull out her phone, already dialing. You knew exactly what she was about to do. Karen put on her most dramatic voice the moment the 911 operator answered. She paced in circles like she was staging a performance. "Yes, hello, I need officers immediately." Her tone was frantic, exaggerated, and loud enough for the whole block to hear. "There's a suspicious man refusing to leave our private community. He's refusing to identify himself." You closed your eyes, inhaled slowly. Of course she exaggerated. Karen never reported facts, she reported her personal version of them. She shot you a triumphant look as she continued loudly. "He's being noncompliant and aggressive," she claimed, even though you were standing quietly with your hands in your pockets, not saying a word. A neighbor called out, "Karen, he isn't doing anything." She ignored them. "Yes, officers," she went on, "send patrol units right away. I don't feel safe." "Safe from what?" you thought. She hung up with a satisfied smirk, turning back toward you. "They're on the way," she said smugly, crossing her arms. "And trust me, they always take my side. I know people." She tapped her phone like she had just activated some secret WA power. You didn't react. You didn't argue. You stayed calm, which somehow irritated her even more. What? She snapped. Aren't you worried? Most people panic when the cops are called. I'm good, you replied simply. Karen frowned. She expected fear, excuses, anything dramatic. But instead of rattling you, all she managed to do was make the entire neighborhood uncomfortable. People whispered, watching from porches and driveways. She kept pacing, adjusting her hair, rehearsing her victim's speech out loud. Little did she know, the moment those officers arrived, this entire show was about to flip on her. 2 patrol cars rolled into the neighborhood within minutes. Karen straightened up instantly, plastering on her frightened citizen expression. She jogged toward the officers, waving both arms dramatically like she was signaling a rescue helicopter. Officers, over here. Thank goodness you're here, she cried, pointing at you as if you were a wanted criminal. The officers exchanged a quick glance, then walked toward you with relaxed, professional posture. Karen stayed behind them, still talking non-stop. He refused to leave, he refused to register. I told him the rules, he got aggressive. One officer gently held up a hand. Ma'am, we'll handle it. Karen fell silent but hovered like a buzzing mosquito. The officers approached you calmly. Hey there, one said politely. Mind showing us some identification? You nodded, keeping your movements slow and respectful. You reached into your wallet, not for your driver's license, but for something else. Your badge. The second officer's brows lifted slightly in recognition. Oh, you're with the department. You nodded again. Detective. Off duty. The first officer chuckled under his breath. Well, that explains the calm. Behind them, Karen froze. Her mouth dropped open. She blinked rapidly, completely thrown off script. Wait, what? He's a cop. She sputtered. The officers turned toward her. Ma'am, he hasn't done anything wrong. And calling 911 for non-emergencies is a misuse of emergency services. Karen's face went pale. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? He refused to listen. He didn't have to, the officer replied. You're not law enforcement. WA rules aren't criminal laws. The neighbors watched quietly, some smirking. Karen looked like her entire world had short-circuited. The moment the officers clarified the situation, Karen's bravado dissolved. Her shoulders slumped, her clipboard hung loosely in her hand, and she barely breathed. She looked between you and the officers like she was trying to reboot. I didn't mean to cause trouble, she muttered weakly. One officer gave her a patient but firm look. Ma'am, 911 is for emergencies. Not WA disagreements. Karen swallowed hard, nodding. Yes, officer. Understood. You simply stood quietly, keeping things professional. You had no interest in embarrassing her further, but the neighborhood definitely noticed. A couple of residents whispered, clearly relieved someone finally stood up to her rule obsession. Your friend finally stepped outside, confused. Hey, everything okay? You smiled lightly. Just an HOA misunderstanding. Karen straightened up again, trying to regain some sense of control. Well, just make sure your guest registers next time, she said, voice unsteady. The officer glanced at her. Ma'am, he doesn't have to. She froze again. Residents nearby chuckled quietly. Karen shifted uncomfortably, avoiding everyone's gaze. Her once unstoppable confidence had evaporated, replaced with awkward silence. Have a good evening, one officer said to you with a respectful nod before they left. Karen slowly backed away toward her house, clutching her clipboard like a shield. She didn't say another word. For the first time, the neighborhood saw her completely speechless. As you walked up to your friend's door, he whispered, Dude, you broke Karen. You laughed softly, pretty sure she broke herself. Behind you, Karen peeked from her blinds, still stunned. And just maybe, she'd think twice before weaponizing the WA again.